If you're watching this video, it's surely because you've seen Avatar: The Way of Water. However, you maybe paid too much attention to the movie. You were probably too busy enjoying it and ended up missing out on a couple of details. But don't worry, because in this video, we're going to show the top 10 things you missed in Avatar: Way of Water. Let's get started. Number 10. Quaritch's avatar spent some time moving around the jungle of Pandora. While at this, he stumbled on the grave site housing his human body. At this point, the only thing he could see was a skeleton. The flesh was all gone, the skeleton had not been tampered with, and remained in a robotic suit. On sighting his skeleton, Quaritch's avatar takes out the skull. This perhaps does not seem like a lot, however, it is quite like what Hamlet did in the titular play. Although Hamlet did not literally hold a skull in his hand, he gave quite some attention to how fragile life is. Number 9. The subs used by the hunters are quite like those in The Abyss and Titanic. The maker of this movie seems to have a thing for the water, so it's not surprising that the oceans are a major part of a number of its films. Just like The Abyss and Titanic, the characters in this movie play lots of roles under the sea or around it. The machines used in Avatar: The Way of Water might seem new, however, they've been used in other films and even documentaries linked to James Cameron. Just like the subs used in Titanic and The Abyss, those used in this movie have expensive cameras, mechanical arms, and windows. Number 8. The Navi didn't actually communicate in English. While watching this movie, it is very easy to assume that the Navi communicated in English. As much as audiences did not want to struggle to understand what they were saying, they actually did not speak in English. When the movie just started, Jake gives out a tip on events that took place after the first film. He went on to talk about the fact that he understands the language spoken by the Navi, and it is very much like they're communicating in English to him. Number 7. The Matakaya and the Omotakaya have an evolutionary difference. Although difficult to notice in the movie, the Omotakaya and Metkaina have marked differences. This makes sense when the fact that Pandora is the home to several clans that reside in various regions. To survive in various regions, these clans have certain alterations to their bodies. This has a thing or two to do with evolution. Also, the physical attributes of these clans are important for their survival. So if they all look alike, they might be unable to survive in different environments. The Oceanic clan obviously spends more time around the ocean than other clans, and this is quite obvious from their light bluish-green color. That's not all. They also are associated with bigger rib cages, which translate into bigger lungs. Furthermore, they have tails, forearms, and fins which come in handy in helping them swimming. As much as not every audience member will spot the differences in the Navi, these subtle differences are important to their survival. Number 6. The eyes shown at the end of the second film are the same shown in the first film. There's something about the eyes in Avatar. In the first film, Jake Sully opens his eyes in his Navi body at the end of the movie. This probably does not seem like a lot to the average person, however, to an observant audience, it is quite a lot. Just like the first Avatar movie ended with Jake opening his eyes in a new body, Avatar: The Way of Water ends with Jake's eyes. This time, however, he is closing them. As much as it might be difficult for the average audience of Avatar: The Way of Water to spot the significance in the first film ending with Jake opening his eyes and the sequel ending with him closing them, there is something about the eye in this movie. In Avatar, the way characters perceive each other is important. As much as perception is not just through the eyes, but about how they understand and respect one another, the eyes are perhaps the easiest part of the body that can describe perception. The focus of the camera on Jake's eyes reveal him embracing the world through his eyes. Number 5. Kiri has her mother's necklace on. Any audience member that has an eye for costumes might have noticed that Kiri is wearing a necklace that is not exactly new. This necklace was worn in the first film by Grace Augustine. This jewelry is a Navi necklace which she got from Neytiri's sister. Grace did not make an appearance in the sequel, however, this necklace found its way into the sequel from the first film because of her daughter, Kiri, wearing it. Number 4. Some of Jake's children has 5 digits. The avatar bodies used by the Navi and those used by humans have several similarities, so it might be difficult to tell how they differ. Nonetheless, one marked difference between these bodies is the number of digits they have. As much as the difference in the number of digits does not seem so significant, it is an indication of how the Navi bodies differ from human bodies. Jake has 5 digits, however Neytiri has 4. Unlike Jake that has 5 digits, some of his biological children have 4. However, his adopted daughter and his middle biological child have 5 digits. This detail is quite minute, so this explains why a lot of people must have missed it. Number 3. The hunting ship in Avatar: The Way of Water sank just like the ship sank in Titanic. It is common knowledge to everyone that has seen Avatar: The Way of Water that the hunting ship in this movie sank. This doesn't seem so much like a big deal, however, the sinking of this ship is something it has in common with an event in Titanic, which happens to be another James Cameron movie. Apart from the sinking of this ship, there are a couple of details in this movie that seem to connect it to James Cameron's other movies. However, one of the most obvious is the hunting ship sinking in the movie. The situation surrounding the sinking of the ship in the Titanic and the Avatar: Way of Water is different, nonetheless, they seem to evoke the same expression in the audience. Number 2. Not many people realize how special Kiri actually is. Jake and Neytiri have a couple of children together. 3 of them are biological, 1 however is an adopted child. Since Kiri is an adopted child, not many people give her the attention that she deserves. Kiri had an immaculate conception. According to Jake, her birth is actually a miracle. She is a product of an unconscious Avatar body. If this is anything to go by, she's not just like any other characters in this movie. Although Kiri's existence is linked to Eywa's gift, she finds it difficult to know how she's linked to Eywa. Also, she has the ability to connect to divinity better than other characters in this movie. However, even this is something that she still finds it difficult to understand. Number 1. The same actress played Kiri and Dr. Grace Augustine. If you are a very curious person and do not like leaving any stone unturned during research, you have probably already tried finding out about the actors and voices behind the characters. And if you took this route, then you will not have to do any guesswork. On the other hand, if you decided to go neck deep into the movie without knowing anything about the production and casts, you most likely have many questions on your mind. And top on your list should be, who is behind Kiri's voice? Kiri is a lot like her mother, however, she is obviously younger and bluer. Now, an actress actually played Dr. Grace Augustine in the first movie, so at this point, you might be wondering how James Cameron got in touch with an actress that has so much in common with Weaver. Well, if this has been on your mind for long, you do not have to think about it anymore, as the same voice is behind Kiri and Dr. Grace. What do you think about the details mentioned? Also, are there any other details you think are worth mentioning? Let us know in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Bye!